And it says, got it. The meeting is getting ready. And then let me go full screen and with the mercy of Shri Hare Krishna. So let's start Mangalacharan and we shall resume back to our Gita Mahatmya final. Hare Krishna. अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानजनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथवितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सवादूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते ताप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. Welcome everyone to this Gita Mahatmya. And if you haven't noticed, then right at the end, as you might be able to see the pointer, it says compiled by. And the name of the Prabhuji and the place and his email ID is given. So all the credit goes to Prabhuji who put together this presentation and widely shared with all the devotees across the globe. And whoever would like to make good use of it. So I have it with me. If you would like to contact me, feel free to contact Prabhuji or any of the YouTube videos. If you will put Prabhuji's name, Amrit Ananda Das in Seattle in US. And on YouTube, if you put Prabhuji's name, there are many detailed presentations just like this, which Prabhuji has put together very nicely and very colorful. Not only that, but Prabhuji has widely shared with everyone. So feel free to make a great use of it. Hare Krishna. So let's go back on the Gita Mahatmya. So before we start anything, it's always good to know why we do what we do. So if we learning maths, English, bio, chemistry, physics, anything, it's good to know what's the purpose behind it, why we are doing it. And that's one of those things we are learning in Gita Mahatmya. Mahatmya is the, like it says, glories, the significance, the importance, that why we should do it. It's the reasoning behind Bhagavad Gita. This itself, it's not that anyone, any Hindu has invented Bhagavad Gita's Gita Mahatmya. It's been given in the Shastras by Lord Shiva to Mother Parvati. That when Mother Parvati said the essence of everything, everything. So that's the reason somebody could ask that, well, you have four Vedas, and there are so many Upanishads, out of them 108 Upanishads, and then there are 10 main Upanishads. Then there are so many Puranas, then there are 18 major Puranas, 18 not so major, so we call minor Puranas. And then we have Kavyas, we have Mahabharata, we have Ramayana. But out of all those, so if you put all those together, there are like 400,000 verses in all of those scriptures. Then somebody will say, why we consider not one particular Upanishad, not one like Markandeya Puran is one of great, which also gives a Devi Mahatmya. Like recently Navratri went, and each and every day is dedicated to one particular form of the goddess. That's been described in detail in Markandeya Puran. And similarly, we have Markandeya Puran and we have Mukund Mala Stotra. And that's also where a lot of details been given. But instead of any of those Vedas, Upanishads, Mahakavyas, Puranas, major, minors, why do we consider Bhagavad Gita as the essence of all these 400,000 verses? Imagine 400,000 verses on one side and 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. And even that, if we see the first chapter, is like setting the scenes, which is just to know. Well, right at the end, from 41st verse from chapter 1, that's where the Arjun starts contemplating. But before that, it's just like who is, well, we will get to the chapter 1 and we will see. But it's important to know, anyone could ask this question, out of 400,000 verses, why these 700 verses supposed to be the most important? Because, and this is just one example, there are many more examples given in the Shastras, where somebody asked, like Naradji asked Brahmaji, and Shivji asked Brahmaji, and Rudras asked Indra, and in this scenario, Parvati ji asked Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is always in. Lord Shiva is what we call transcendental to all the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, ignorance. Anything we do, humans, we are always stuck in these three. We ignorance or passion, passionate about something, or the goodness. We like to be good, which is out of all three, goodness is good. But again, at some point, we need to go away, go beyond even goodness. When goodness will become our nature, not the second nature, it will become our first nature. Like the nature of fire is to burn or to provide heat and energy. Similarly, if you think about our nature, is we are spirit souls. And if we behave on that platform, then it will be very different. It won't be the way we behave currently. So this is what Mother Parvati asked Lord Shiva, that you are anyways away beyond all these material modes. Like nothing is affecting you. To whom you meditate. And after doing all that meditation, because Brahmaji did the meditation as well. Brahmaji was the first living being on this material planet, or what we call material universe, the Brahmand. And he had, so the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam says that in his heart, Krishna said that you need to, Krishna enlighten him from inside, and just said two alphabets of Hindi. Tapa, tapa, tapa. Tap is for meditation, for austerity. And then he started doing that. And then he could understand. He actually spent a lot of time looking for who is the creator of Brahmaji. He started looking. He was on the top of a lotus flower. He went inside the lotus flower. And for many, many years, this is the story from Bhagavatam. And he could not find the source of it. Then he came back. And then he just closed his eyes. It was dark anyways. And then from his heart, he felt. And sometimes we do, no, where we say, oh, I don't know. It's like something is stopping me or something made me do it. Oh, I just had a gut feeling this is right. Oh, shall we go left or shall we go right? I don't know. Let's go left. But why we said left? Why not right? Because something, we call it Chaitya Guru, our own consciousness guide us, right? And then again, there's a whole philosophy that why somebody's consciousness is like that, and that's there widely in Upanishad. So we could get to that level as well. But when Parvati ji asked that question from Lord Shiva said, out of everything, this is the nectar, right? So the essence is given here. Now, sometimes when we give the essence might be very concentrated. And that's the reason we need purpose. So there are 700 verses. But if we pick one of the verse, like yesterday I was discussing with someone, that there is one verse in Bhagavad Gita which says that those who are enlightened, self-realized beings, for them, the material night is the day, and for material beings, the spiritual things are night and day, other way around. So if I rephrase that, say that again. So for self-realized people, for self-realized beings, the normal night is the day and the normal day is the night. And when I read it, I got confused. It is very confusing. And you could say, while I'm repeating that, it's confusing. But then why could make out of it that maybe because a lot of people, they do meditation and they do the meditation in the night and in the day, because throughout the night they do the meditation, then in the night, in the day they sleep. So if you think about it, for them, their night is in the daytime and their day is in the nighttime, because throughout the night they do the meditation and in the night they sleep to cover up. But that was not the correct understanding. And that's where we need someone else. That's where we need self-realized people. That's where we need much more experienced people, or what we call senior devotees, we call Vaishnavas, we say association. And that's where when we read Bhagavad Gita, we need Bhagavad Gita from the authority. We need somebody who could explain what that verse means. And that's the reason we read Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada. And if you go on Google and if you look for the top 10 or top 3 commentaries on Bhagavad Gita as it is written by Srila Prabhupada ji is the topmost, which goes almost everywhere where you are. And I remember one of the movie, Oh My God, and somebody said that, oh my God, the sequel 2 is coming. But oh my God, first, and even PK movie. So these are like a spiritual oriented movies, or the philosophical angle being added to it. Now, if you will see those movies, whenever the Bhagavad Gita is shown, those Bhagavad Gitas are Bhagavad Gita as it is. There are roughly 400. So somebody did a research and it was there that there are 400 different versions of Bhagavad Gita. Versions in a sense. So those 700 verses are same, and they are in Sanskrit, then they are in English. But after that, the purport, who has given purport? So Swami Vivekananda ji has given in Ram Krishna Mission, somebody else would have given, Srila Prabhupada ji has given, then we have the Kumaras, they have given, so Shri Sampradayas, they have given. Similarly, we have roughly 400 different versions of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada ji, which we are referring, that is the mostly widely accepted. So Lord Shiva said that if you go for that, then that's the best one. And not only that, then Parvati ji asked, then why? Why do you say that? And now Lord Shiva took the opportunity to glorify Bhagavad Gita. And that's what we call Gita Mahatmya. We have already seen some of the verses, so very quickly we will go through them. Arun, you here? Yeah, would you like to read this, please? Yeah? All right, Arun is just behind me, coming across. So it's good for different devotees to get along, so you won't just hear my voice all the time.
One who, with a regulated mind, recites with devotion this Bhagavad Gita scripture, which is the bestower of all virtue, will attain to a holy abode such as Vaikuntha, the residence of Lord Vishnu, which is always free from the mundane qualities based on fear and lamentation.
Great, thank you. So yes, so we have discussed this before. So the very first thing it says the word, all the virtue. So we don't really need anything else. All the virtues which we need to be a great citizen of any country. It's not just one citizen of one country. It's a global citizen these days we talk about, because we move around a lot. In last few years, I've been moving around in 4 different countries. And wherever you go, you abide by the laws and regulations. Reason being, the fundamentals come from somewhere, which makes you a global citizen. It doesn't talk about very narrow minded, which a lot of other scriptures might be. So that's one of the things. However, it says one who with a regulated mind. And that's important. That's important. Anything we said, if you read, then we need to have the proper focus and concentration on it. It's not that you might be reading Bhagavad Gita and in the background Alexa is singing song for you. Or it might you might able to prove yourself that, oh, I'm multitasking, oh, I enjoy that time. Boy, it's better if we focus our mind on anything. It's not only that, even if we do maths or English or physics, or even in the corporate environment, if we are training ourselves for some technical bit, we got to focus our mind. Yeah, that's the first thing. Bestow all the virtue, we mentioned it. Holy abode such as Vaikuntha. And we mentioned last time, Vaikuntha is split into 2 words. Vaikuntha. Kuntha is misery. Where is where there is no misery, right? So in Sanskrit, when we add this word where the front of something, it opposes it. So Kuntha, misery, Vaikuntha, absence of misery. Any place where there is no misery, so your home could be Vaikuntha. So you could say, I'm going back to Vaikuntha, and say, oh, really? And say, yes, because my mom and dad are there. They always look for great care. They're always looking forward to make me happy in all the pleasing ways. So, wow, that's great. So your home could be considered as a Vaikuntha. The residence of the Lord Vishnu. Obviously, this is what we're referring in the spiritual world. Vaikuntha is a place where Lord Vishnu resides, which is always free from the mundane qualities. Now, what is mundane qualities? Now, there was a quest where somebody said that, oh, just in a funny way, can you share any quality or any skills you have which is good for nothing? What do you mean good for nothing? Well, any skills you have which is, if you think about it, is useless. And then somebody said, yeah, i can I can bark like a dog. So, wow, that's useful. And the guy said, well, I don't know where I can use it, but it's one of those things I can do. And there are many things like that. Like sometimes I've seen boys playing around with the bottle, right? And Aryan and Ishan, you might have done it, Yeah, half of the bottle is filled, and you will just try to flip it. And then Aryan would get so excited, oh, I've done it, I've done it. I said, well, what did you do? What did you do? And then he said, well, I flip it 3 times, and all 3 times the bottle stood straight. I said, great, great skill you have. But I wonder where we could use it. So those things are mundane skills or mundane qualities, right? They're not really useful. And there are many more like that. Now, for example, how we could change those skills. Now, somebody is a Bollywood musician or a singer, maybe, and singing really nice Bollywood music, or composing art musical pieces for Bollywood movies. Now, those are great qualities, but they are, if you think about, for the sense gratification. When we listen them, we feel good, right? It gives us a bit of gratification, but that's just mundane because it's temporary. How about if the same musician will write something in the glories of the Lord? And if you think about it, that will stay forever. Now, of course, you could argue that some of the songs been there for ages, and they might be there for very, 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 very long time, but sooner or later they will perish, they will go away. Now, like songs in 60s, 70s, 80s, they go less and less and less, and well, which is obvious if you think about it, because the next generation, the new generation comes around, they have the new taste, new style, and the old, even though it's very good, it will go away. But something like this, which is a spiritual, because it touches the soul, and that's the main thing. When we go for the senses, senses are related to the body, and the body is material, senses are material. Anything to do with the material body is temporary. It could be 100 years, it could be 1,000 years. It will be, it's going away, it will get destroyed. Anything which is a spiritual, to do with the soul, it will always, always, always stay. If you think about it, for example, all the Vedas, Upanishads, they are there, they were there, they are there. And currently, if you think about it, a lot and lot of people getting involved in it. There are so many different courses these days. And not only, I wouldn't say that it's just for Sanatan Dharma, Hinduism, even many other religions, the youngsters, they are taking part in it, which is a really good thing. Because if we are spiritual, we will able to reach to that level, hopefully, where we can see everyone as our brothers, sisters, so we can live in harmony. It's not that everybody needs to have the green glasses. We should able to appreciate that if you wearing blue, even though my favorite is green, I can still accept you. And that's one of the yardstick if we are enhancing, or if our consciousness is enhancing. And when we read Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse there where Krishna says that the one who is self-realized reach to the level where he can see a dog, an elephant. So dog is not supposed to be very good, especially in spiritual, because dog's supposed to be very dirty. And then elephant is supposed to be very holy. And then, so this is like a variation from dog to elephant, all the animals. Then Brahmin, which is supposed to be the topmost. Of course, then on top of Brahmins, we could have Vaishnavas. But Brahmins are there, the most learned people. The job of the Brahmins is to teach others, to make themselves very well versed, and then to teach others. Brahmin is not what we usually consider that somebody who is born in a Brahmin family. No, somebody who is, doesn't really matter who is your father. If you have worked hard, if you have worked hard and really with pure mind and regulated mind, put your devotion to efforts, then yes, you will be able to reach, you should be. And there are many, many examples in the Shastras where somebody was coming from Kshatriya or Shudra or Vaishya family and became Brahmin, or was praised as Brahmin. So whether you are a dog or elephant or Brahmin or Chandal. Now Chandal is the most degraded. Chandal is someone who eats human flesh. So in the animal kingdom, dog and elephant, all the variations, and in the human beings, from Brahmin to Chandal. So everyone is inclusive. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, someone who could reach to that level, that person is a self-realized person. So this means that that person will not see that, oh, he's Hindu, or he's Muslim, or he's Christian. No, that person will able to see, and there is another verse which says that that person will able to see, the self-realized soul will able to see that everyone has Krishna, or what we say, Paramatma in it. Like everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. Everyone is a spiritual, even though that person realizes or not. Doesn't really matter what that person says. You know, if I will say, oh, I'm Bill Gates, doesn't really matter. You know who am I, right? And that's what really matters. That who, if I have lost my identity, if I have forgotten about my identity, and this is where we say the false identity and the true identity. I can genuinely pretend. It's like even in my own mind, I think I'm Bill Gates or anyone very, very, very renowned. But the reality is I'm not. So even if I will go in the market, I can pretend. And maybe somebody who doesn't know who is Bill Gates might consider me as Bill Gates for a while. But because it's temporary, it will fall down. As it says, the face will fall down. And then the real, I will always seek for the reality. You know? So this happens. This is where the material and the spiritual things get compared. So we are material, we are not material body, we are spirit souls. So even though we pretend sometimes, or we are an illusion that we consider ourselves as material body, but at the end, so people work for the money, people work for the power, people try to get a house, car, clothes, so much, so many things together. But right at the end, they are still unsatisfied and they look for something spiritual. And I've personally experienced that, especially the youngsters. Well, I say youngsters, I'm 40. So somebody I met recently, for example, they are 34, 35, both young couple, they both are directors, living in London, earning a lot of money. They haven't got the children, and I'm not sure whether they want children or not, but they're very successful materially if you think about it. They have almost everything they want, but they felt the need to be spiritualized. And that's the reason they got in touch. And then one of the main question was that, what are you looking for? You have everything. Well, they are looking for something which money cannot buy. Of course, they realized it when they had earned so much money. But we don't really need to work hard to earn so much money to realize that. For example, we don't really need to go to the jungle to realize that what are the problems in jungle. We don't really need to go to any other country, for example, or we don't really need to get bitten by a snake to find out that the snake is poisonous, or like what we always say for the cyanide, we don't really need to taste the cyanide. Oh, only once I will taste it, then I will figure out it's poisonous or not. No, we can take the benefit from others' realization as well. And then we work on our self-realization. That's why it says the mundane qualities we have in material world, that should be spiritualized, right? Based on the fear and lamentation. Now, they're big words, fear and lamentation. Most of the time it says people earn money because first initially because they need money, there's a need, then there's a greed. There is a need, there is a greed. So have your need satisfied, but before you reach to the level of greed, then please. Now, when we say the need, the fear is part of it. Need is, what if I won't? Yeah, I need money, but if I will not get money, what will happen? That's where fear is. But when we reach to the level of greed, and because of greed we start doing bad things, then where afterwards comes the lamentation, right? So the need is associated with fear and greed is associated with lamentation. This is one of the way to remember that. Now this is where we are on first one. So much so we have already done it. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon it. There's a very, let me check time. There's a very nice story about it, how to understand. Oh, 26. Okay, very quickly. So let me just quickly draw. But the thing is, okay, let me change it. Otherwise, I will draw and it will go away. Ooh. So I think it will disappear because I'm using that pen. Oh, nice. Okay. So you imagine there was a time in India. Well, I'm sure in the villages there must be some villages it's still the way they do it. So people live on ground floor, and on the first floor they have a room especially assigned for the wheat. So the grains, they bring the grains and they dump all their, oh, I said dump, they store all their grains there, right? But the way it goes, this is, they have a big room, and on the top of the room there's a hole, and they keep putting all the grains there. And then when they need grain, right at the bottom, they have a hole, and they open the hole like a tap, and they get it. They get the wheat. So from the top, so they're using a great use of gravitational force. On the top, they put the grains, and whenever they need it, from the bottom, they take it. So this is a big room they have. Of course, if somebody is not that rich, then they could be a small container. Now, what do we usually have? We have something similar for the water. We have a filter jug. From the filter jug, we have a big utensil, and on the top we put the water there, and we have the water tap at the bottom. Now, thing to understand related to, oh, interesting. How come that stays? Let's try that. That doesn't. Interesting enough. When I did on misdeeds, it stayed. I'm not sure how I did because I'm using the pen which disappears like it's doing now, but misdeeds straight. Interesting. So the reaction of his past misdeeds, the sin, a lot of people, they consider this, how this happened and what happens. If we put the seeds, let's say 2019, we got some grains and we put those grains in the room or big container. Imagine, if you can't imagine I've seen the rooms in the villages, but if you can't think of it, it's hard to imagine that the room is full of grains. But if we have a big container, from the top we put the grains in 2019, and then in 2020 we got more grains, and then we put on top of that as well. 2021 we put more grains, and let's say in 2021 January we need some grains, and we open the tap at the bottom. When the grains will come out, not necessarily those grains will be from 2021. Maybe in that big container there are 3 sections, and right at the bottom maybe still we have some grains of 2019. And this is how the karma works. So the previous karma we did, based on that karma we get the results, and those results, they don't come straight away. Like I give the example of 11 plus, we don't get the results straight away. We maybe get it in 8 months, and in March we will know. So some of the kids who got it recently in October, in March they will figure out whether they are going to, which school they are going to go. So the results of their efforts will take like 6 months or so. Similarly, whatever karma, so maybe we have seen someone doing something, but it really, really depends whether what was their previous past karma. And that's why it says, Lord can, the reactions of our past misdeeds. So deeds, good karma, misdeeds, not good karma. Lord alone could do it. But it says one who reads Bhagavad Gita. Now, how it happens, we will discuss in detail. But this is what Lord Shiva saying to Parvati ji, that reading this, all the previous karmas, the reaction of the misdeeds will disappear, and the Lord can do it. So we will see how this happens. Okay. So what we say here now, the next one, that one may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. So this is what we do. We usually take a shower in the morning and shower in the evening. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. So with water we clean our material body, but with the wisdom given in Bhagavad Gita, all the dirt of the material life goes away. So not only the body, but our consciousness will get purified as well. And that's the most important bit, the consciousness. If you think of ISKCON, International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Now, what is Krishna consciousness? We will see what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. But the idea is that our consciousness should be clean, our mind should be regulated. And these kind of things, if you think about, going to help us everywhere in the life. Whether we are spiritual or not, even material world, we do need to take care of it. But Bhagavad Gita will help us in that, which is, I think, is amazing. But that's the reason it says that it will give you all the virtues. You don't really need anything else after that. So, Arun, would you like to read this? Yeah. Ishan, let me know if you like to read it. So I'll let Arun read it if you like to read the next one. Yeah.
Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentive and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So this is a verse. Now, if somebody will ask why Bhagavad Gita, because it says, first of all, we don't have time and we don't even have that intellect to understand Vedas and Upanishad. Trust me, I have tried it, right? And I'm not saying that if I couldn't understand, you wouldn't able to understand. Feel free to give it a go. And that's what we say, self-realization, right? Self-realization. But having read it all, well, I'm not claiming I've read all the Upanishads. I've read the all major 18 Puranas, but main Upanishads, yes. And the language given there, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, but it's very coded. I mean, Bhagavad Gita itself, sometimes we feel that it's coded, but Upanishad is really on another level. And what Lord Shiva says here, that we don't have enough time, 400 verses, right? Bhagavad Gita 700 verses good enough for us. Then Bhagavatam 18,000 verses. But not only the time, but we need the intellect. We need the time to discuss. We need time to remember, memorize. We don't. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, this is Kali Yuga, quarrel and hypocrisy. Our mind is not that regulated. But what it says, the good thing about Kali Yuga is that Bhagavad Gita is available. If we read that, then we get the essence of all that. There is no need to read anything else. It will give us the essence. But so somebody will say, so then why do we read Bhagavatam after Bhagavad Gita? Because you say the essence is there. Because to understand even further, right? So because when we read the Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, we don't have stories, right? It's the facts, straight facts. So the essence when we give the crude way, right? When we go to the Bhagavatam, then they are given in stories form, right? Referred back to Bhagavad Gita, but in the story forms, all those fundamentals, the concepts being mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, clarified in detail in Bhagavatam. So again, because we understand his stories much better, that's the reason it's been given in Bhagavatam. Mukha Padman Vinishtra. Very nicely said. So this is what it says, because it is spoken by Lord himself, right? So in a lot of Upanishad, there is one Upanishad what we call Shri Isho Upanishad. Isho is for Ishwar, which is like there are different Upanishads written or compiled by Ved Vyas, but spoken by different acharyas, different spiritual mentors. But Shri Isho Upanishad is directly spoken by Shri Krishna, Ishvara. And even here, Bhagavad Gita is spoken directly by Lord. So what else could be better than that? And if you go further, right? So in this, it says, by drinking the Ganges waters of the Gita, right? So this is being compared. The divine quintessence. This is the essence. This is the quintessence of the Mahabharata. So we know Mahabharata, we did the setting the scenes, and there we saw many details of Mahabharata. So Gita comes in Mahabharata. Gita is part of Mahabharata. Emanating from the holy lotus mouth of the Lord Shiva. So this is very poetic. Maybe in English it doesn't feel poetic, but when we read in Sanskrit, it's definitely very poetic. And that's the reason. If you see a lot of time, so the verses, like in any poems, they are written in different stanzas. So take rebirth in the material world again. So this is what we call liberation. So there are four what we call Purush Arthas. And one of them is the biggest one. So it's a moksha, the liberation. Liberation is one of those things most of the people look for. Even the devotees don't look for the moksha, but they get moksha as a byproduct, but we don't really look for it. Yeah. For example, when we buy banana, we don't need the skin of it. Well, you can say we need the skin to wrap the part inside. Yes, but we need just the inside part of it. We eat the fruit and we throw away the skin, which means we don't really need the skin, but we get the skin itself. Nobody will say, "Oh, I'm going there to buy the skin." No, we just buy the banana. We just need the inner part of it, but the skin comes along. It is a byproduct. You need it. You don't need it. Somebody said that they make, I think, some kind of curry from the skin of banana, and it might be possible. And there are many nutrients in that as well, but it's hard to digest. What I heard. So this is what we're saying, that rebirth will go away, so moksha will be there. So punarjanma na vidyate. So punarjanma, punar is again, janma is birth. So birth will not happen again. So even the highest purushartha will be achieved by reading Bhagavad Gita, in studying Bhagavad Gita. In other words, by devotionally reciting the Gita, the cycle of birth and death is terminated. And this is what it is a lot of times. So somebody said that I'm a Christian reborn, and then there was a Hindu who said, "Well, I'm a Hindu reborn and reborn and reborn and reborn," because of course this is why it says that this is a vicious circle of birth and death, and it will continue until unless we break this. And Krishna says that right at the end, when whatever our thoughts are in Bhagavad Gita, we'll read that last thought will be the first thought of our next birth. Now, if that thought will be material, we stay in material world. But if that last thought is spiritual, then we will go into a spiritual world. And then Krishna says, the one who comes to my abode spiritually never falls down. What that exactly means, we will see in detail, because that could be very bewildering. All right. All the Upanishads are like a cow. Now, this is a great analogy. It's been repeated number of times. So Lord Shiva is mentioning that as well. All the Upanishads are like a cow, and the milker of the cow is Lord Shri Krishna, right? So Krishna is very famously known as a Gopala or Govinda. Go is for the cow. Gopala, Govinda, related to cows, somebody who takes care of the cows, somebody who lives with cows. So all the Upanishads are like cows, and Krishna is the one who is Gopala, Govinda, taking care of cows, the son of Nanda. So it's mentioned Nanda, Gopala, Nanda. So that's the reason. Again, just to have it in a very poetic form. Arjun is the calf. So it says whenever we want to milk the cow, the very first milk should go to the calf. So of course we just buy from the markets these days. But in India, and I remember in Vrindavan, my Mamaji still lives there. And Mama Maji, he had many cows. Now he's just got one or two cows. But I remember my childhood, I used to go there, and you could milk the cow. But before the time, so there is a time in the evening you will go, the milk cow knows about it, and cow needs milking, because the milk depends on which age the cow is. Cow needs to take the milk away, and it's not one of those where cow will automatically give the milk away. You will have to press it, and then only it will. So it's a necessity for cow to give the milk. But the first milk, it says, should always go to the calf. So when we go there to milk, we know the milk time is there. Cow knows it. Calf goes it. We will leave the calf, and calf will go and suck all the milk. The calf could, of course, if we would like to drink milk, how much milk? Even if we are thirsty, how much water we could drink? So that calf will go and drink a lot and a lot and a lot of milk. And once the calf is gone, calf will automatically leave away, right? Calf will just leave. One might still be around the mother cow, but will not drink. And then we know it's time for us to go and milk. And the cow will let us very generously give away, because cow is a mother. Cow will let us take rest of the milk. And so that's why it says the Arjun is the calf. So that's why Arjun gets the first bit of it. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna is giving that milk to Arjun, being the calf. and the fortunate devotees of fine theistic intellect, like what we are trying to study and understand, are the drinkers and enjoyers of that milk, right? So again, the cow is there, Upanishads or Vedas or Puranas, all the Vedic wisdom. Krishna is the one who is taking milk out, but Krishna is the one who is giving the milk to the calf first, or releasing the calf. Calf will go and take the milk, and then after that, Krishna is taking the rest of the milk, and rest of the milk is widely available to all of us, and we are the fortunate beings who are drinking and who are enjoying that milk. This is the analogy to remember, and this comes many places in the Shastras and the scriptures, so we can always cherish and always enjoy that. Then ekam shastram devaki putram gitam, eko devo devaki putra eva. This is a very famous verse, and a lot of time when we end the prayers, so we end by this verse, and this says they need. So a lot of times, like another friend of mine said, he's my childhood friend, and we discuss a lot of spiritual things, and he said, you are obsessed with Krishna. And I said, well, if you read the scriptures, then it's very clear. So again, like this, there is another verse where it says in Bhagavatam, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Lord himself, right? And of course, there is a context in it. And the here also, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putram Gitam. There need be only one holy scripture, the divine Gita, sung by the Lord Shri Krishna. Only one worshipable Lord, Lord Shri Krishna. Only one mantra, his holy names, which is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And only one duty, devotional service. Right? So, Eko mantras tasya namaniyani. So this is the mantra. And then on to this duty, the devotional service. So now when we're doing it, so one of us or maybe few of us are speaking, we are doing devotional service, and all of us are listening. That's also a devotional service. Devotional service starts from hearing. The very easiest thing, even if somebody is in coma, that person could also hear, right? We just put the Bhagavad Gita. I remember at the time of Shivani, because at the time of art and everything was new for us, at the time of being the first child, at the time of Shivani, we knew what was going to happen when she was getting born. So we had a lot of mantras in a form of chanting. Recitation was going in the background while Shivani's mom was in labor, and that was in the labor room. We were there, and I think that's a very auspicious way. So anyone who walked in, even though didn't know it, and say, "Well, what was that music?" And no one could understand, or those people who were coming, they could not understand, but still they enjoyed that. And these are what we call spiritual vibes, and there are many examples of that. And this is not just the spiritual, I would say even the materially, people enjoy different background, where even if we don't understand the meaning, we still can cherish that. So this is very clear what it says there, right? So we say, it says ekam tasya devasya seva. So seva is what we call devotional service, and that's the reason. So this is very clear. Lord Krishna is the Lord. The mantra is the only holy mantra, and the devotional service is the only solution. And this is what we all should try to do it. So maybe last few minutes we have, if anyone has any question, any queries, any comment, feel free to add on. Otherwise, this is what we consider this as. Any machine we buy, we have a user manual. So we consider Bhagavad Gita as a user manual of the mankind. How we should use our body, how we should use our life, that's written in this user manual in Bhagavad Gita. Essence of all the Vedic literature, we have just seen, and we will see next slide, by God, by Krishna himself, and is the most widely compared to anyone. Oh, wow. This might not be clear. This is very detailed. I think at one point I did discuss it. It's beautiful. I will share this. This is not clear. I have another screenshot somewhere else where it's much more. I think this screenshot has been expanded, is stretched. So it's a bit blurred. So, but very quickly, we have Shruti and we have Smriti. Shruti, what we hear, Smriti, what we remember. And luckily enough, I have two friends, and they both are Shruti and Smriti. Oh well, their children are friends of Aryan. One is Shruti, one is Smriti. I don't know whether they know each other. They do, I guess. But Shruti is what we hear directly. Smriti, what we remember. So if somebody will tell me, so I know Ishan, so I can say, because I've heard Ishan, I can say Ishan's accent is so cute, right? But if I remember that, I will tell somebody else. I will tell Aryan. Aryan will tell somebody else. So what Aryan will tell somebody else, Aryan hasn't heard it, but Aryan remembered that my father has told me about it. That's what we call remembrance. And that's the difference when we have a direct perception of something, or we have heard it from someone and we remember and we are telling others. Vedas, Upanishads, they are considered as the Shruti, directly from the God. But Smriti could be heard from someone else. And that's the main one, and there are many, many more details. Here we go. Puranas, 18 major and minors, what we were saying. So there are itihasas, which we can't see, but itihasas are what we call Ramayana and Mahabharata. Okay, great. So we have discussed purpose of Bhagavad Gita in detail. That this is the only solution we have, because the quench we have, the thirst we have, it's not material. It's the spiritual. We are a spiritual being, and this shows the light at the end of the tunnel. This is a very famous phrase. Light at the end of the tunnel is that Bhagavad Gita is there. If we read Bhagavad Gita, we will understand it. What we will understand from Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 topics. Ishwar, the God. Then Jiva, we understand ourselves. Then we understand the material world, Prakriti, or Prakriti, material world. Then the Kala, the time we understand, very important. And then Karma, the kind of action. If we see in all that, everything is covered. All these 5 topics, we understand ourselves, we understand the world around us, and we understand what kind of actions we are supposed to do. And Ishwar and Kala, they are very, very, very related, because Krishna says, I am Kala. Right. So okay, we will come back to this when we will start it. But this is where we're saying, so we have covered all these points. This is the Bhagavad Gita as it is. If you don't, then let me know. We should have our own copy where we can do the marks. We can go about again and again and again. We should refer back to Bhagavad Gita again and again. And in the conversation, we should take it out. Let's think about it. What Krishna says about this topic in Bhagavad Gita. Right at the end, we have the index, and we should take for it. All right, great. Thank you so much for everyone being there. Thanks, Ishan, Aryan, Shivani. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Ishan. You take care. Look forward to see you next Sunday, 5 p.m. And I will stay here today because I think some of the devotees, they might join at 6. So feel free to leave those who've been here for an hour. So thank you so much. Look forward to see you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
All the blessings for you, Ishan. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, Samved Bhakta Vrinda ki